Hey everybody, it's episode 418 of PodQuest.
Hey.
Whoa. Almost there. Almost there.
So Rich, are you going to be high as shit in 2 weeks?
I need to talk to my dealer, aka your wife, to see if she can hook me up with anything. But I definitely could be.
So it is Wednesday, August 17th, 2022. I am Chris. With me is Drootin.
Hello.
And Walnut.
What's up?
The sky? I don't know.
I'm just saying hi in a different way, okay?
I know, you threw me off though. That's not what you do.
I
so
know.
I felt like I should answer you.
Look, I'm in a different sort of mood. I just had a soda. Like, I'm kind of wired a bit, but I'm also tired, so it's like I'm in a weird headspace.
Did a soda wires you?
Well, I mean, it was a large soda, plus I'm just mostly tired.
Oh,
but
so you're in that like weird space where like the little bit of caffeine gives you like a little bit of twitchiness?
Exactly.
Yeah, no, that's
I
a feeling right there.
I ended up being up until about 1-ish yesterday because we felt so good after playing Apex last night that we kept playing even after our tournament was over, and then one of us got raided by like 21 people, so we kept going even more, and then I still had to play Ring Fit Adventure and didn't end up stopping until about almost 12:30, 1 o'clock. So, yeah, I'm tired.
That's fair.
Yeah.
And I guess you will be talking a little bit more about Apex in a few minutes.
Yeah, for sure.
I guess with that, Rich, what is on the agenda?
Well, we're going to be talking a little bit about the title update 1 for Monster Hunter Rise, Sunbreak. Then, I played a boatload of the new season of Apex. I'm sure, Drew, you probably played a decent amount of it.
I played a little bit.
Then, Cobb and Drew decide. Oh no, Rumbleverse isn't a Smash clone. Never mind. Cobb decided to play a Smash clone of MultiVersus, and Drew decided to play the wrestling, battle royale Rumbleverses. And then we're gonna talk our book club, Prey. And then Cobb watched Sandman. It was all the way at the bottom. I didn't see that.
Man.
We usually do book club last, so like I just kind of stopped at book club.
Yeah, I tried to. I haven't finished Sandman yet.
Yeah,
but like I want to say a couple things about it while it's still like a relevant topic.
Mm-hmm.
But I figured like I can say a few things after we talk about Prey.
Yeah, makes sense.
Oh man, that's a real good Paddington Photoshop.
It's a real good Paddington Photoshop. I had to say that before.
Oh my goodness.
So because this is awful for
Is that Jerry Maguire?
No, it's fucking Risky Business.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I mean.
I almost said Cocktail, and I'm just like, no, it's not fucking Cocktail. God damn it.
Honestly, if you would say Cocktail, I'd be like, oh yeah, no, it's that one.
Yeah, it's the Tom Cruise in his underwear scene from Risky Business. Hey, you know what? At least you knew it was a Tom Cruise movie.
Yeah, I've never seen Risky Business. I've never seen Jerry Maguire, but I know that scene from Risky Business. I just can't remember what movie it was from. So
are we having like a Tom Cruise run on book club if you've never seen all these movies?
I would be fine with that. I do not hate Tom Cruise.
Yeah, I actually, you know what? Like, I think Tom Cruise as a person, a little weird at the very least. A little crazy at the most, or a lot crazy. But like, if you look at the dude's filmography,
mm-hmm.
whether you particularly like the movies or not, other than The Mummy from a couple years ago, he really hasn't done like a straight just shit movie. Like most of his movies are generally well received by the people that by whatever demographic they were made for.
Yeah, I mean,
Legend is just a really good movie.
Which one?
Legend.
I don't know if I've seen that one.
It's like the fairy tale. It's basically like a fairy tale one. Like Tom Cruise is like a forest boy. Tim Curry plays like a demon.
I have no idea what you're talking about at this point.
Yeah, like basically Tom Cruise peaked in the 80s is what I'm saying.
I don't know, man. Fucking Collateral.
Those Mission Impossible
I've never
movies
seen Collateral.
Are solid. Like, all of them are pretty solid.
You know what? I haven't seen 2 or 3 in decades, but like all the ones that they've done in the last like 10 years or so, they all are actually really good. I still need to see the most recent one, the one that came out after Justice League. That is the reason they had to Photoshop Cavill's face.
Yeah.
I never saw that one. Actually, there might have been one after that too. But yeah, those are good. But like, look at 1980s Tom Cruise. All right, think about this. You had Legend, you had Risky Business, you had Cocktail, you had Rain Man, you had Top Gun. I'm forgetting a couple. I think Days of Thunder was technically the early 90s, but like close enough.
90 or 91.
Mm-hmm.
Like Tom Cruise between 1980 and like 1992. Like it's all iconic movies.
Yeah.
I don't know that we can count Legend in there as iconic.
Man, fuck you and your opinion.
No,
Fucking two out of three of us had never heard of it until now.
Yeah.
The rest of the movies, fucking, at least we'd heard of, if never seen. Legend, no one's ever heard of. It's got a 41 on Rotten Tomatoes. It is not, like, iconic.
What was the race car one again?
Days of Thunder.
Days of Thunder? I literally read a Days of Thunder book in elementary school. Like,
really?
Yeah. And we had, like, this accelerated reader program or something like that, and we had to read, like, one book a month or something. I don't remember. And at one point I saw there was a book with a NASCAR car on it. And I was like, oh, and I think I'm 99% sure it was like a Days of Thunder book. And I'm just like, okay, sure. I didn't know what it was. I just saw NASCAR and I was like, I kind of like NASCAR and I hate reading. So let's do it.
But like, look at fucking, I'm going to send this to you guys because it's real good for radio essentially. But, where's Facebook? Look at fucking Tim Curry in this goddamn movie.
I mean, listen, Tim Curry is fantastic.
But like, look at him.
See the devil?
Basically.
If you told me that was the devil from
Pick a Destiny,
yeah,
I would also
exactly.
agree that that's what that is.
Like, I feel like they probably took their design, some inspiration for their design in Pick a Destiny from this.
100%. Also, another movie I've never seen.
I've actually never seen that either.
Wow. I mean, fair.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like I purposely never saw it. I think I actually owned it on DVD for a while, but it was just one of those movies where, like, I just never actually sat down and watched it.
Yeah, I think I had a bootleg version of it and just never, same thing, never watched it. Always wanted to, never did. It's just on the back burner.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to spoil the movie right now, but I can tell you I already know, like, my next pick for book club, and it is not a Tom Cruise movie.
Oh, man.
But maybe next time. You know what? I may actually sit down and list all of the, like, reasonable to watch Tom Cruise movies. Like, I don't think any of us want to watch fucking Vanilla Sky or Eyes Wide Shut.
No.
Eyes Wide Shut? There was a, I think it was a Mad TV sketch where it was Pies Wide Shut.
Okay, I've only ever seen a handful of Mad TV. Not a bad show. Didn't dislike it. Was just, I've never been, like, a sketch show person.
Mm-hmm.
But I might sit down and, like, figure out, like, Tom Cruise movies and see which ones are available for streaming.
I'm 100% willing to have a weekly Tom Cruise film off of, like, all the Mission Impossibles once a week for a while. Do you really think that we can get Drew to watch one movie a week? It's Mission Impossible, though.
I don't think that matters. I think the fact that we get him to watch a movie every other week is fucking...
It's really stretching it, not gonna lie. Plus, like football season's about to happen, so, like, Sundays are out of the question.
We would have to
watch a movie.
We would have to give him, like, 2 months off of book club if we tried to get him to watch a movie every week. I will not lie. As much as you've bitched about the movies and stuff like that at times, like, you have watched every one of them, even on weeks where you weren't going to make it.
There technically was one or two he didn't watch. There was one he didn't watch for sure, and I think there might have been another that I can't remember if we watched it or not, but the one he didn't watch was when we watched the 2 zombie films that were based off the same thing, Alive, and...
But you watched one of them, I think, right, Drew?
Yes, I watched the Korean one.
Mm-hmm.
The frankly, the better of the two.
Yes.
But, like, I forget which one it was, but I remember you watched one when, like, it was a week where you're like, hey, I am not going to be here. And then, like, you messaged us later, you're like, hey, this movie sucked.
It was Silent Hill. I believe...
No, I think he was here for Silent Hill.
I don't know. We should have a list of all the things.
One.
We should have a list of all the things that we watched on Book Club. Because what it was you ended up not being able to make it to the episode that we were going to talk about whatever movie, but you also didn't watch the movie, but you still watched it afterwards anyway. and had something to say about it. I just can't remember what it was. It was like maybe 2-3 months ago.
I think it might have actually even been longer than that.
Yeah.
I think time has collapsed in on itself, and we just don't know anymore.
I mean, we've been doing book club for a year and a half almost, or for over a year at this point. So.
About a year and like a month and a half, because it was mid to late June of last year that we started.
Mm-hmm.
But Rich, how about you tell us a little bit about Monster Hunter Rise? Right?
Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. So they just released their first major title update since Sunbreak came out. Which Sunbreak's been out for 2 months, something like that. Month and a half, 2 months, something like that. And so they released Title Update 1, which added 4 new monsters, which was Gold Rathian, Silver Rathalos, Seething Basilgeist, and Lucent Nargacuga, which are just 4 really awesome, high-demand monsters. All those monsters get armors and everything like that.
How many of those names did you just fucking make up?
All of them.
None of them. None of them. They're all real.
None of them sound real.
I mean,
also, you're being I'm being pedantic about that, but none of them are actually real. Come on.
I mean, neither is Cobb. Cobb's not real. I mean, if you're going to talk about how fake names are all fake. You could be a symbol and be known as the artist formerly known as Prince.
But no, that's already been taken.
But I mean, you can still be a symbol and be.
But I couldn't be referred to as the artist formerly known as Prince.
No, but you could be referred
that man is
to as
dead.
the person
stop besmirching the name of Prince, man.
You could be known as the person formerly known as Cobb. So
I could. You're right.
Anyway, trust me. There's other more ridiculous Almudron and Magma Almudron, Summoncanth, Arucanth, or is it Summoncanth? I can't remember. The flagship monster of this game was Magnamalo, which I call him Marshmallow, and his variant, which is I haven't even gotten to him yet. What is it? I can't remember what his variant's name is. And then there's also Rajang and Furious Rajang, which Furious Rajang is just Rajang without a tail. So there's all kinds of Monster Hunter-y things that you can deal with. But yeah, they added the new monsters. The new monster fights are awesome. The fucking Seething Basilgeist, which is the first one you have to fight after the title update, or once you reach a title update, friggin' hard as hell. Lost against him 3 times my first time trying him, before I switched weapons and was able to beat him that time. But they're all fun. Like, I'm not here to really talk the monsters because you guys don't really know or understand or care about the monsters. And if anybody wants to talk to me about the monsters right now it's on Thursdays, but I might be moving it back to Tuesdays is when I play Monster Hunter. You can always come and hang out and play Monster Hunter with me, and we can talk about them there. But what they did is they actually reworked the endgame loop and the endgame play cycle for the Master Rank, for the Sunbreak. And instead of just playing the same missions and quests over and over, there's now a investigation system, where the more you play certain quests, the higher your level goes. As you collect items while you're out, you can unlock stronger, higher-leveled monsters, and so it's more in a style of world, because originally, the way Rise was, and the way how it was before Title Update 1, if you wanted to fight an Anjanath in Master Rank, there's only like 3 missions that have Anjanath. One of them is a solo mission, and every time you fight it, it's in the same location. So it kind of started to get a little stale. Well, now we can do these investigations, and I can possibly unlock an Anjanath in a different location now, with different monsters that may show up. But it's also, it gives, by doing these investigations, you're getting new items that have reworked how you set up your gear system. So now when you build your armor, you can use these new items to and it's a random roll. It's not something you actually set or place, but it's a random roll where they might take away 5 points of defense, but give you like 3 new skills. Or,
like, is that worth it?
It is. It is. 5 points of defense is nothing. I got an armor roll that dropped one of my skills from 1 point, so from 2 to 1, which just made like the refresh timer on something a little bit longer. And it also gave me plus 20 defense, added resistance, and like a new armor slot to place, or a new, not armor slot, like skill slot to place a skill gem in. And like, sometimes it's worth it. Sometimes it's great. Sometimes you get one that drops all your skills down by 1, lowers your defense by 50, and it's worthless. And it's kind of the roll of the dice at this point. It's the gamble. And it sucks because in order to see what the update is, you have to use the materials. So it's like, if you find something good, you can keep trying to get something better, but you might be wasting your time because you may never get something better. And like, the way they worked it as well is if you're using a really awesome armor piece that's like, quote, rarity 10, you're less likely to get the really cool, really super powerful updates or random skill sets through this upgrading system than if you were to use something that's like, quote, a rarity 7 or something like that. So it brings into play and changes, honestly, the meta of the entire end game to where it's all random now. Like, you can have your own set and set it up the way you want, and somebody may never be able to get the armor set I have because I got lucky with rolls. But I may never be able to get the armor set somebody else has because they got lucky with rolls. It's so, like, it changes things up and, like, reinvigorates the endgame loop than just fighting the monster in the same quest in the same locale.
Okay.
Over and over and over. It's really cool. I really like what they did. I didn't really get to go too far into it, but it's just like, it freshens the game, and I really like what they're doing with Sunbreak in general. Like, Rise I was very down on, but since Sunbreak came out, everything they've done, all the new and added monsters, the endgame content, the curio quests that are like these investigation things are based off of, like, they're all really cool new gimmick that works very well for this game and this play style. And like, I'm so excited to keep going into it and pushing more and learning things and just unlocking cooler armor sets, potentially cooler armor sets.
Nice. So how much time do you think you've put into Sunbreak so far? In the month and change it's been out?
Let's see. Let's look at my Steam Monster Hunter Rise playtime, and I can figure it out from there. So, Monster Hunter Rise playtime, 121 hours. We're going to say about 60 hours.
Okay. You know what? Considering like that you've been kind of passing between games and stuff like that, that seems pretty good.
Right now, I currently only play it once a week for about 3 to 5 hours. And I do occasionally play it off stream and whatnot, but like, most of last week was spent playing Apex. Because I haven't played Apex in over a month. A new character was dropped, and so I was like, I need to get practice. I need to get back into it. So whenever I was going to play Monster Hunter, I ended up playing Apex. Or playing so much Apex that I was tired afterwards and didn't feel like processing anything else. So I didn't play games afterwards.
What a bum.
Like literally Saturday last week, I played Apex for about 3.5 hours. Went to have lunch with my parents. Came home. Played for another, 4 hours. And I was like, alright, I should play some Monster... No, I'm tired. I'm not gonna. And then ended up watching some streamers for a bit, and then watching TV for the rest of the night. Because I was just like, people aren't made to binge game, at least after 30-something, that, once I reach about 3 to 4 hours, I really start to lose it. So it's like, taking that break from lunch was really helpful, but then I ended up draining myself again by playing more Apex instead of playing Monster.
And you know what? I'm sure Drew would agree. Apex is the better pick there.
Yeah.
I mean, they have their pluses and minuses. Apex, I'm playing against people. Monster Hunter, I'm not. So there's that level of alright, I'm skilled in Monster Hunter because I can read the moves and read the tells. Apex is kind of more random when it comes to fighting people because I still don't have the motor skills to move and jump and shoot all at the same time.
Man, you've been playing games for 30 years. How have you not developed those yet?
Because I never really played multiplayer. I never really played against people. Even when I did, I didn't focus too much on the skills needed. It's not really the motor skills as much as it is the multitasking capabilities of alright, this enemy's coming at me. I need to move backwards and to the side and jump and constantly jump, but also while I'm jumping, making sure to aim at that person because when you jump, it's like your crosshairs are also moving up and down, up whoever you're aiming at. And so it's just like, there's so much involved in a shooter against people that, like, I'm still getting used to that.
And you're actually probably playing mouse and keyboard.
I am playing mouse and keyboard, so there's no assisted aim. And in my opinion, although I have more freedom of sight, I have less freedom of movement because I only have the cardinal directions. So there's a give and take with that.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't only have 4 directions. It's not like you can't push up and right at the same time.
Yeah, but it's all right. 8 directions then, instead of a full 360 range.
Yeah, but like the difference between like the way movement works in a first-person shooter, like the difference between like 90 degrees to the right and 88 degrees to the right is not really a thing.
You know, Drew, you know what though? As somebody who, like, I've tried a few PC first-person shooters in, like, the relatively, like, near-ish past, and, like, it is a totally different sort of mechanic that you have to kind of wrap your head around. And, like, I know exactly what Richie means. Like, while, yes, you can hit, like, the same directions, and by hitting those and moving the mouse at the same time, you can basically cover all of the same area. Having the analog stick that literally just, like, lets you move in, like, a smooth circle, does, like, it feels different, and, like, trying to train yourself away from that is just, it's weird.
Oh, I mean, it's definitely different.
Because, like, if I'm trying to move back and to the left, but I want to move more to the left than back, you can't do that on a mouse and keyboard. You can move back, you can move to the left, you can move diagonally back and left, but you can't get that, like, that 75-degree angle or anything like that. So it's once you get to the plane that you're on, you then have to stick with the X and Y instead of the Z, like, or not Z, but, like, you get what I'm saying. Like, you get the cardinal directions. At one point or another, it's going to turn in the cardinal directions. And if you're aiming at somebody while trying to move back, like, yeah, you might be, like, adjusting your aim to keep on them, but you might be wanting to circle around more so than just directly back. And so I'm like I said, it's not like I lost all movement. It's just less fluid movement.
Yeah, and I, as somebody that does not play PC games like that, I 100% understand that. I feel like Drew, because he plays them more than both of us, probably it's more natural for him, and it doesn't hit him the same.
As far as I know, most of the first persons he played, Drew, were on console.
I have played like 1,000 hours of Counter-Strike.
Oh, right, Counter-Strike.
Wait, do you play Apex on console?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought you played on PC.
I didn't have a good PC when Apex came out 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right, and it's not cross-progression, is it?
Not yet. Probably won't ever have it. Like, you still have to play with your same account, but you can't, like, transfer what you got on your PlayStation or Xbox to your PC. Well, maybe your Xbox, but just not your PlayStation.
No, I would imagine the Xbox stuff doesn't carry over.
But back on Monster Hunter for a bit, like, I'm super excited to see what they add. They're going to add, the next title update comes out at the end of September, so it gives us about another month and a half before we get more content. And they're teasing, like, harder monsters and shit like that. So they're doing a lot of good with Monster Hunter, and I've been so excited to be playing the new title content and the title update. I need to play it more. Like, that's what goes on in my head all the time. Like, I need to play it more. I'm like, I'm gonna stream. I should just stream Monster Hunter, but I'm like, no, I'm gonna play these other games that I want to beat. And I want to beat it with people, and I want to talk to people while playing it, and I promised people I would play these games, so I can't just do Monster Hunter right now. I also don't want to be a Monster Hunter streamer. I don't want to be a Monster Hunter at all. I don't want to be known for one game.
Sorry, I'm having some mic difficulties at the moment. Do you guys hear, like, a weird humming coming from me?
No.
Oh, that's weird. Like, my track shows, like, weird, like, noise. Huh.
I hear nothing.
I wonder if it's just Audacity.
Probably. There might, something might not be, like, fully plugged in.
That's what I was actually just checking. I just had myself muted and you finished talking. So I unmuted myself while I was kind of, like, fiddling with things.
But you can keep fiddling with things, because me and Drootin, we can talk Apex for a bit while you're fiddling with things.
Yeah, talk about Apex.
So, how you feeling about Season 14, Drootin?
I mean, I need to go back and look through the patch notes because I forgot, like, they made the Spitfire light ammo.
The Spitfire's light ammo. So, for anybody who doesn't know, the Spitfire is basically an LMG.
Yes.
But they're using light ammo instead of heavy ammo.
And there are 4 light machine guns in the game, and it used to be 2 heavy ammo, 2 energy ammo.
Yeah.
With the Spitfire and the Rampage, which was the newest one, added a few seasons ago. I don't even remember when. But there hadn't been a light ammo light machine gun.
Yeah.
And now they made the Spitfire light ammo, but then also put the Rampage in crates.
Yeah, Rampage is in crates right now. Or it's in drops, or is it in? It's not.
Yeah,
it's in drops.
Yeah, it's drops.
Yeah,
so
which is that's ridiculous.
So it's limited ammo.
and then not. This is my favorite. The revolver, the wingman. You hear this, Cobb? The revolver.
But wait, like the character is called the Revolver?
No. The weapon is a revolver. It's called the wingman.
Yeah.
It's a revolver. Uses sniper ammo.
Yeah.
So is it like a really powerful shot?
Yes, it has always been very powerful. Did they even amp up the damage it did?
I'm not sure, but it was usually heavy ammo. Now it's sniper ammo.
Yeah.
But you still can't put like a good scope on it or anything. You can't put like a sniper scope on it or like a mid-range scope on it.
I feel like they should have let it at least have the ACOG scope, the 2.4.
Yeah. It should have had the 2.4. Definitely should have had the 2.4. But it's just like, to me, that's silly. Which then, because I believe because the wingman is now sniper, they added a little bit more sniper ammo into the game. Plus, the new character, she's a sniper, so like a lot of people are going to be using it. They also like changed up a lot of how the meta gameplay works, and it's a lot more getting into firefights and a lot less of just hiding and shooting. The ring hurts you more. It moves faster. Even in the first ring. It doesn't really hurt you that much more in first ring, but it starts to hurt you more. Even early on, it moves faster. Matches are a lot quicker, in my opinion. And it's just like, they changed up. They changed quite a bit. Bone Town is now called Relic in Kings Canyon. And it there's this...
Bone Town is back-ish.
Yeah, it's back-ish, now being called Relic.
Because there was no Bone Town even adjacent in the last couple versions of that map.
Yeah. And I got the new character. I got Vantage.
Yeah, I got her as well, because I have so many of the whatever the fucking red token thing is.
I seem to get enough between seasons and between characters to be able to buy a new character whenever they come out. But I'm not getting enough to buy old characters at the moment, so that's fine. That's fine. I really like how she plays. She's a scout type, or a scout class. Her passive is if you don't have any weapon equipped, or if you have a weapon with I believe it has to be a 3 times or better scope. I believe it said 2 times at one point, but I've never noticed it in a 2 times. So I think it's 3 times or better scope. You get to, you can see the enemies. Like, your little eyepiece will, put a box around the enemies, and you can... I don't know... you can't really ping them. Your teammates won't know that they're there. But, you can scout, and you can be like, alright, I see this many people here, that many people there, stuff like that. It lets you know what kind of shields they have. For the entire team. So, it'll be alright, there's 2 purples and a gold, or there's 2 blues, or they're all whites, or whatever. Then she has Echo, her little bat, that she can throw out. I wish Echo had some sort of scanning, but that would make her a little bit too powerful, so I understand that.
It would also, take away from, Crypto.
Yeah, it would definitely take away from Crypto. But you throw Echo out and you can position it in a spot to where, whenever the timer runs down, there's nowhere that tells you how long you have before you can jump. You can jump to Echo and then get a second jump when you get to it to like move around. She has a lot of maneuverability and ways to give you good vantage points because her name is Vantage. She's a sniper. And then her ultimate is really cool. It's not like a one-time use thing. It builds up for up to 5 shots, and she pulls out a sniper rifle. And every time you shoot the same enemy with that rifle, if you hit them, it does more damage with each shot. It also tags the enemy for the rest of your team, so when they're out in the open, there's like a little box that they can see them.
Does each consecutive shot still do more damage? Because I know, like, the whole thing that her alt sniper rifle does, it tags the enemy for everyone on the team and you do more damage, but I don't know if that bonus damage keeps stacking if you hit them multiple times.
The way I was explained is that it's for each shot it does extra damage for each consecutive shot. So it was like the first shot's 50, the second shot's 100, and then the next one might be 150. I'm not sure. I'm bad at this still. I'm bad at long range. As much as I love using this character and using this sniper, I usually can only pepper 1 or 2 shots into the enemy before they're either down or they know where I'm at and they hide. So it can be rough if they like know if you're in an active firefight. It can be pretty hard to actually even hit with this weapon because it's still Apex. You can't sit still for more than a few seconds. So like you're still, even as a sniper, even aiming down scopes, you're shooting and moving. You don't get a lot of chance to just sit there, key in, wait, breathe, and then fire. Like it's rapid. It's rapid. That's how they changed a lot of the meta gameplay with Apex this season.
Oh, yeah, the ability does say for Vantage, damage increases with successive hits. Yeah. So that ult does more and more damage, but the bonus damage for the rest of your team seems like it's only whatever.
Yeah.
A flat bonus.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's things I wish when you scope them, when you don't have a weapon, or if you have a scoped weapon, I wish you were able to like tag them somehow to track them for a little bit longer. But again, it's like there's a balancing act, and I feel like they balanced her very well. Her sniper rifle, if you're good, it wrecks. It wrecks. Yeah. 150 damage in 2 shots can take people down pretty quick. Especially if they don't know where you are. You can, and you're good at it. Like, you gotta stress, you gotta be good at it. But it's also, one thing I didn't mention, her passives with all of her weapons, especially if it's ranged, it drops a little blue box as to where you want to aim to hit the enemy. So, like, the blue box is where you want to hit, where the enemy should be in whatever distance they're at to fire. So it kind of tells you how to snipe, which is, like, that's really cool. Like, I've gotten some good shots because, like I'm sitting here, the center of the crosshair is like is like there, because there's the dots underneath the crosshairs, like 3 dots up is the center, and I'm shooting and popping them because I'm hitting where the blue marker is.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I'm liking the season. I really wish they got rid of Stormpoint and maybe kept Olympus. I feel like Olympus with Vantage would be a really good map. But for some reason they just love that. Well, it's because Stormpoint has the new area in it still from when Newcastle was added, so they're going to keep using that new quote new map.
Hey guys, I need to interrupt for a quick second. I apologize. Fortnite is fucking weird.
Oh yeah,
there's DBZ stuff in it now.
Yeah, so like I had Twitter open in like another window, and I just saw this video start playing where it's somebody playing as Goku. They start out by their running around with a gun, because that's what Goku does in this game, runs around with a gun. Mm-hmm. They then start web-swinging like Spider-Man, and then land in front of somebody and pull out a fucking lightsaber to kill the guy. Yep. And, like, what the actual fuck?
What is your problem?
It's just the weirdest thing in the world to watch.
I mean, it's you can Spider-Man web and lightsaber things as Goku. Like, this is just normal.
But you can't Kamehameha.
No, there is a Kamehameha.
Is there? Then why does he need a gun?
Because you start with a gun, you need to be able to get the Kamehameha by doing stuff.
That's dumb.
From what I don't 100% know what's going on with it, but like either you need to unlock the Kamehameha, or like you need to do stuff in the match for the Kamehameha. But like Beerus is in it as well, maybe even Vegeta, like Beerus,
Vegeta, and Bulma.
Yeah. A bunch of Dragon Ball skins are in it, and it's
very weird.
Well, it's like you got the Spider-Man stuff because they had all the Marvel shit. They had all the Star Wars shit. So it's like, depending on how you have your character kitted, that's what they're gonna have. So if you have your character kitted to Spider-Man web swing, you're gonna be web swinging as fucking Goku.
No,
it's Fortnite, man.
I get it. It doesn't make it any less weird.
No, it doesn't.
And I'm also pretty sure I heard that Giant Bomb is going to be streaming it as Oops All Goku later. So that should be interesting. But sorry, you can go back to Apex. I had to talk about that for a second.
No, it's fine. It's fine. But yeah, I do plan on practicing a lot more Apex because after you take a break, you forget how fun the game is, and I took a break for a few weeks.
One thing I like that they did for this season, in the Battle Pass, they got rid of any challenges that would only be either Battle Royale or Arenas. And now have it be, here's the one challenge for Battle Royale, and then the other challenge for not Battle Royale.
Yeah. So, like, because before it would be
like,
specific.
Do 3,500 damage with a marksman weapon in Arenas. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't fucking want to play Arenas. It's not why I'm playing this game.
Yeah.
If I wanted to play that, I'll go fucking play Counter-Strike.
Yeah.
Now it'll be like, do 3,500 damage with marksman rifles in Arenas, or do 5,000 damage with light machine guns in Battle Royale.
I think I've noticed it's generally like double, so if it's 3,500, it'd be 77,000.
Yeah, well, there's never been 7,000, so
yeah,
it's always been 5. But
yeah, so it'd be like 2,500 and 5,000. But yeah, it's same difference. Though. But yeah, like it is cool that they did that. Like I was really trying to get all my weeklies done last week. And I kept checking my weekly things, and I was just like, oh, this is really cool that, like, if I decided to take a break from doing Battle Royale, I could still try to use the same kit to try to get the damage in Arenas, but I'm starting at 0 again. So it's, and like, I play Apex for the Battle Royale. I don't play it for the Arenas. The Arenas are fun, but, like, I don't play for the Arenas. I use that as just, like, a break sometimes.
My problem with Arena is people quit too much.
I've only ever done Arenas with a full group, so I've never ran into that problem.
I mean, even on the other team, cool, I won, but it wasn't fun. Like,
yeah.
Probably at least a third of matches I've ever played of Arenas, someone on a team has quit after the first round.
Mm-hmm.
It's been like, oh, our team lost the first round, I quit.
Yeah,
and I'm like, cool, great, I get an easy win, or cool, I'm fucked, like, but either way, the game was less fun.
Yeah. It's, like, that, Apex has made so much more for Battle Royale than, like, the Arena stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I told this, story on my Discord. I raged out on somebody on Sunday this week. I felt kinda bad, but at the same time, didn't. Because it was frustrating and I had a bunch of bad matches. I only felt kind of bad because I ended up quitting out after I raged. But like, so I was playing as Gibby. The problem person was playing as Octane. And I can't remember who the other teammate was. And we were in Kings Canyon. And we started right in the center. Where there's the cages and stuff with the monsters. I don't remember the location's name. But
yeah. Sure.
But we started around there. I don't believe we got into much of a firefight. We might have. We might have been able to clear some enemies. But like one of my teammates lost their shields. They went from they got enough damage to where they didn't have any shields. We were able to take care of the enemies. We were able to do some shield swapping and everything else. But the Octane didn't shield swap, didn't heal. So I'm like, hey, Octane, get a shield swap. Make sure to get your shields up. Hey, Octane, heal your shields. Hey, Octane, do you need batteries? Things like that. Trying to be like, hey, come on. You need to heal up. We need to get going. No acknowledgement, no anything, no healing or anything like that. Just dead silence. And I'm like, alright, well, I ping, let's go over here. And we start heading out because the ring's coming in. And the Octane, which, Cobb, you don't really know Octane. He is a character who's really fast. His alternate ability is to juice himself up, and go very fast.
Okay.
He
takes 10% of his own health to get like a 50% speed boost. But then his health recharges over time when you're not in a firefight.
Yeah. So like there's a give and take. He couldn't keep up with the ring. He was slower than the ring. I'm like, Octane, you as Octane, make sure, remember, put your weapon away, you run faster. Plus, you're Octane. You shouldn't be in that ring. You should be so much faster than Ring 1. Let's go. He eventually catches up, and we reach a point, and I'm looking around, and I spot some enemies, and I ping them. I'm like, just pinging, there's enemies. Freaking, I think it might have been the Octane. It might have been somebody else. As I'm sitting there, like, healing up real quick, decides to shoot at the enemies down below. That, like, it was 3 enemies that were way out of our league of being able to take care of. Because, I was Gibby, which I was a little bit stronger. We had an Octane, and, like, it might have been a Pathfinder. So we couldn't take out a Fuse and a Rampart, like, if they had their ults, which they did. So this person shoots at them, runs away. I get stuck in Fuse's circle. The Rampart puts up their gun and starts shooting up at me. I can't heal or anything, so I ended up throwing my ult over there and, like, over towards them. The Fuse's ring drops, and I jump down, and I just jump on chat, and I'm just like, why did we fucking engage? I was pointing them out to you so we can position. This dude doesn't even know how to heal, and I've been telling him to heal for 10 minutes. What is going on here? And then the Octane leaves. I'm like, I kind of feel bad because he might have been a new player, but also, you have to do a tutorial to know how to play this game. You should know how to heal. Like, it's simple as that. Like, the first thing that tutorial teaches you, or maybe not the first, but like the third thing it teaches you is how to heal. And it's just like, I felt bad, but at the same time, I don't, because it was just frustrating.
Was it a ranked game?
Kind of frustrating.
No, it wasn't ranked. It was pubs.
Then
the
fuck does it matter?
It's when you have 3 hours of just bad matches, and like no one's listening to you, and you're just it's just a rough morning when it comes to playing these matches. Just like, all right, that was my last match. I was like, all right, I'm done. I can't play this game again today. So it was like I had posted that, and you reached out. I was like, I'll play, and I'm like, I got to go to lunch anyway. It was my last match, but like it's frustrating when people don't listen. When it's like, hey, heal. That's the one thing I want, is to heal, and it's like they're not healing, and I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing to me? Let's like actually try to play and be serious and play. Like, I don't like solo queuing for ranked anymore, because people just suck in ranked too.
I mean, you're not wrong, but at least in ranked, I feel like that's where you could be like, all right, you're trying to play this at least semi-seriously. That's where it's like, I care what the fuck the other people are doing.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what rank I'm in. If it brought me back down to rookie, then I don't want to do those rookie lobbies anymore. But if I'm still in bronze, then I should be fine for the most part. I don't know. I was able before the recent rank split in new season, I was able to get up to bronze. But I haven't done ranked since then, so I don't really know how it's set up right now.
If I remember correctly, it resets everybody.
It resets you back down 1. So if you were plat...
Is it just down 1?
Yeah, if you were plat, it brings it down to gold. So it might have brought me back down to rookie. Or I mean, diamond. Is it? I think it's gold.
I don't
Platinum,
remember.
diamond. I don't know. I haven't been paying too much attention. Husky hasn't been streaming a lot, so I haven't been paying too much attention. But yeah, the new Apex season is... I like a lot of the changes. They did a bunch of changes. I should have pulled up like the notes.
Yeah.
I still think it's weird that the revolver gets a fucking sniper ammo, but whatever. In my opinion, there were too many weapons that used heavy ammo anyway. So yeah. It's a nice new little spread at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so happy that I've discovered how much I like the Volt, because that's generally my go-to close range one at this point.
I'm just glad the Scout's just back in normal rotation.
Yeah, the Scout's been back in normal rotation for...
No.
Well, no,
It's been in the loot crate for like 5 seasons.
Well, no, but it was... I wasn't going to say a few seasons, but like for... after Newcastle was dropped, there was a split, and since that split, it's been back in the normal rotation. Because they put It wasn't the Rampage. It was something else that they put in. The Devotion, maybe? No. It might have been the Rampage in here, because it's still the Rampage that they put in. But the Scout has been in... It
was not just available after Newcastle came out.
It was after one of the splits, though. After one of the season... The rank splits. I've been using the Scout for more than just 4 days. I've been using it for,
5 days.
No, I remember using it before,
Crate rotation. G7 Scout returns to the floor. That is in the new patch notes for this season, so...
I swear I used it before this season.
You fucking did not.
I know I used it from a drop a while back, but I swear I've used it before this season.
I don't think they do, the crate item changes, not in the season.
I don't know. I just, like I said, I remember using it before Friday. Because I didn't play the season. The season came out Wednesday or Thursday, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, it's been a couple weeks, a week or two since I played. Maybe 3. But, I swear I remember using that before then. I don't know. I can't remember. But, yeah, that's my Apex talk. I'm enjoying the new season. Gonna try to play it more. Practice a couple hours a week at least. Gonna be doing more Z-League tournaments because they're fun to do. They're not it's not super serious. Generally, I'm only gonna be doing the free things. So it's a website that you can go sign up and you can do free matches and they give you credits and you can use those credits to buy merch from them, or depending on, you can even join paid tournaments using your credits, lower tier tournaments, which then give you actual money if you place in good positions and stuff like that. It's just an added thing for Apex. Or I think they do more than just Apex. They do a bunch of different games.
League of Legends, Call of Duty Warzone, and there was one other that I can't remember.
Yeah. And so it's just it's an added extra thing to do when you're playing these games. Because they've recently added bounties where it's alright, you gotta get X amount of kills in a match. Or whatever, while you're doing your tournament. And that'll, it costs you credits, but you get double or triple back if you get it right, or if you get it done. So it's just an added little thing, and I like doing them. They're fun.
Well, do you guys want to move on?
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Right, so I did, I tried out MultiVersus.
Mm-hmm.
The Smash-like, where you get to play as Shaggy.
Yeah.
From Scooby-Doo.
Mm-hmm.
It's neat if you like Smashes. That's pretty obvious. I have not played a Smash Brothers since Brawl, I guess. The one on the Wii. Was that Brawl?
Yeah.
I mean, I played the Wii U one once for 2 matches, so I don't know that counts. But so it's been, 14 years since I've played a Smash Brothers game.
Mm-hmm.
This feels exactly like I remember Smash Brothers games feeling like. Characters are a little more floaty, I feel like, though.
Yeah.
You can definitely... It is easier with certain characters to get back to the stage.
I mean, that's with all Smashes. Some characters have better jumps than others, so it's just dependent on your character.
Yeah, and so I've only used Shaggy and Superman because those are the only ones that were available to me. I didn't play enough to really start unlocking people.
Mm-hmm.
Though the unlocking is both aggressive, but not terrible. They definitely set you up early on to be able to unlock characters fairly easily if you just follow the reward system of
mm-hmm.
Do this in a match, play this many matches, do this type of match.
There's a tutorial mode. If you get through all of that, you get Wonder Woman.
Right.
And then,
I missed that at first, so I unlocked Wonder Woman kind of after I was done playing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it plays pretty well. It's got an interesting roster of characters that definitely all feel different. Or at least they look like they would feel different. Like I said, I only Superman and Shaggy were all I really messed with. Superman definitely has some fuck you moves. He's got this one thing where he will just fly across the screen in a direction, and if somebody happens to be in the path, he will grab them and carry them a little bit further. So, if you hit it in the right spot and you're near the edge of the stage already, and then you point off of the edge of the stage, you might just, take somebody kind of far out, and if they're, weak enough and you can get, a quick hit off, they're not getting back.
Mm-hmm.
The funny thing is...
Sounds like Smash moves.
Yeah,
100%.
No.
Like there's Smash abilities that do very similar things. Like, and I'm not trying to like talk down about it or anything. I'm just like, it's one reason why I haven't played it. It's like if I want to play Smash, I'm going to play Smash.
So some of the game modes in this one are interesting too. Like they default you to the team mode where it's 2v2.
Mm-hmm.
And that does change it up a little bit because you are kind of both reliant on and having to work with somebody else because it's not at least in the base settings that they have for it's not like when both of you get knocked out, it's over. It's like the first team to like knock a player out X amount of times wins the match.
Yeah.
So if like you get teamed up with somebody that's not good, it might just be over very quickly because they may get knocked out 3 times like immediately, and that's just that.
You can do that in Smash.
Oh, does Smash have co-op?
Yeah, you can set it as teams and have team stuff.
Dude, I have not played Smash in 15 years.
I'm just saying, like, I'm not trying to like be like you're an idiot or anything. I'm just literally saying like
that has always existed in Smash.
Yeah, everything I've seen about this game is Smash, and like that game mode that you're talking about is literally a 100% plausible game mode. The only difference I've noticed in MultiVersus between MultiVersus and Smash there are dedicated class type characters. Is a healer in that game. Like literally, they're there to prevent people from being knocked and sent off bounds.
There's also, I don't remember there being healing items in Smash Brothers.
There is. There's always been.
There's
been the
there's
been the tomatoes, the hearts.
Mm-hmm.
There's even in Ultimate. I don't know when it arrived. There, if you grab the flag and you have enough time to use it, you refill stock. So yeah, there's always been items like that.
That's been around for a little while.
It might have been Melee or just Super Smash from the Wii U. I'm not sure which one.
Like I played like the 5 matches that were part of like the starting of the game essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have already uninstalled it.
Yeah.
Like I think it legitimately plays well. It plays as well as Smash Brothers does to my memory. I just don't like those games. I don't think they're good. It's the reason why I don't remember any of this from Smash because I never enjoyed Smash Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
But like I think if you like Smash Brothers and you just want like a different roster of characters, this being free to play and available on platforms other than like Nintendo, it's definitely worth the time since you don't actually have to put any money into it. You do have to dump time into it to unlock characters.
Yeah.
But much like Smash Brothers, even if you unlock all the characters, you're really only going to play like 2 or 3 of them, and you just unlock the ones that like interest you from the get-go first, and then just unlock the other ones kind of like as you go. Does Smash have a way that you can save your teammates if you're playing co-op?
What do you mean, like pull them up if they're falling or whatever?
Yeah. No. So in this game, there are certain characters that have like a tether ability, where you can tether to your teammate or to the enemy, if I remember the tutorial correctly, and basically like dive off the stage with the enemy, and then have your teammate pull you back up.
Yeah, I haven't done a lot of Smash co-op, Smash team stuff pretty much ever, and I don't even think there's like tournaments for team smashes. But I don't think there's really strategy or possibility to rescue a fallen comrade, essentially someone who's
not
dropping.
That I can think of.
Yeah, like it's like you could be DK, grab someone and run off the ledge, or you could be Kirby and suck someone in, Kirby or DDD, suck someone in and jump off the ledge, and do a sacrifice of an enemy. But there's no real, as far as I know, there's no real way to rescue someone who's being knocked or sent flying.
Okay, yeah, so you know how like in Smash Brothers, if like once your like percent was high enough, like the slightest move just like literally rockets you off the stage?
Mm-hmm.
So like when that happens in this, I don't think the tether would save you, because I think you're just off the stage too quickly for it to matter. But if you're just in one of those positions where maybe like you got knocked down and you were too low to make like your double jump back up, it's one of those situations where like it could save you. Or if you're like Superman, you could use that like fly somebody off the edge and like go way off the edge and then have your teammate essentially like pull you back from like the abyss. One other thing I noticed in it, and this may be a thing in Smash Brothers, it almost has like the battle royale like level closing in thing going on, where at certain points the edges of the screen start to go black and kind of close in on you a little bit, like as the clock ticks down essentially, and that becomes, if you hit that, it's an instant out. So you have to be careful if you're, jumping up too much or trying to like juggle yourself off of the stage, because if you just bump into that by mistake, you're just going to knock yourself out, even if you're at 0%.
I seem to remember that there might be like a border mode or something like that. Maybe like one of the special modes, maybe one of the special challenges or something. I don't 100% know for that in Smash. Usually, whenever I play Smash, it's 3 to 5 stock, 5-minute matches. That's we don't really do much of anything.
Yeah, which like actually does make sense. But I'm like I said, like I already uninstalled it because it was taking up space, and I knew I wasn't going to go back to it anytime soon. Mm-hmm. But I think like that's one of those games where if I did want to play like that sort of game, I would definitely play that before I played Smash Brothers, just because it plays just as smoothly as I remember a Smash Brothers game playing. But without having to buy it or play it like only on the Switch.
Yeah, I've watched some people play it. I've watched some videos about it, and like I don't know, the animation doesn't. This is probably going to sound dumb. The animation seems both too cartoony but not fluid enough at the same time. Like watching Jerry like float around like he does, or Tom is the cat. Tom float around. But like he's not actually in like a jump stance or anything. He's just like literally standing as he's floating and dropping to the ground. And like to me, I'm just like the animation just doesn't feel right. And like some of the characters pop too much with their cartoony style than the others. It's just like, to me, it just doesn't really all congeal very well.
So it's not like Smash, where kind of all the characters minus Game & Watch are like a similar art style, regardless of the art style from the game.
They are, but like I know what Richie means. Like it's all the same style, but I think because of that, characters just. I'm trying to think of the right way to put this. Characters are stylized to fit the game, whereas like I feel like in Smash Brothers, because it's more of a like Smash Brothers is a very generic like style, because like all the characters look like the characters. Like Mario looks like Mario, Donkey Kong looks like Donkey Kong, but then also Snake and Sephiroth look like Snake and Sephiroth. Whereas in MultiVersus, like especially because you have characters that are people. Like, Arya Stark is a playable character in this game.
Yeah,
some
okay,
of it just
right.
doesn't quite look right because they cartoonized everything into that game's style, essentially, if that makes any sense.
Okay, yeah.
And, like, some characters they don't quite look right, I think, because they are styled differently. But, like, Shaggy looks good. Wonder Woman looks very... You know what? They kind of look like Fortnite models. If that kind of like triggers anything, like remember when they put Aloy in Fortnite and it didn't really look like Aloy anymore, but like you could tell it was supposed to be Aloy.
Not really, no.
Oh, well,
I didn't know that they put Aloy in it.
Yeah, they did. Like last year, I think it was. And like you knew it was Aloy based on the clothes and the red hair and everything, but like it was a very like cartoony version of the character, and I feel that that's really what MultiVersus is doing. Like, everyone is kind of, like, cartoonized a little bit, even when they're already a cartoon character.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, playing the game, I don't think it necessarily stands out as much because you're focused on everything going on and trying to not go off the stage yourself. Whereas, like, if you're watching somebody else play, you can kind of, like, look around and really focus on, like, the nitty-gritty of it.
Fair.
The controls are basically the same as Smash Brothers, though. It's, like, all the, like, up and a button, down and a button does like your special moves. And then otherwise it's just kind of button mash and jump a lot.
Yeah.
It's neat though. Like it's definitely like if you are a Smash Brothers fan and you want to play like a game like that on a different platform, it's free to play. Like why not?
Yeah. I've like I said, like I know a lot of people who are really excited for it, who play it a lot, who love it. And I watch it like and I feel like I talked down about it a lot. Like I wasn't trying to say it's bad. When I was
sounded like you were trying to say
it
was bad. basically like, I like Smash, and Smash is better, and my name is Richard.
No, like, I wasn't trying to say it's bad, but, like, from what I've seen, it's not my style, and, like, I have Smash, so I'm going to choose Smash over that, but it's also, like, yeah, if you don't have Smash, if you don't have a Switch, this is your choice. Go for it. It looks like it runs solid. But I also hear that it kind of goes a little over the top when it comes to, like, the microtransactions and shit like that, too.
Yeah. I definitely don't disagree with that. And I was only kidding. Like, I didn't think you were necessarily talking down on it as much as just, you were very heavily comparing it to Smash because that's, it is very heavily Smash.
Yeah. And it's like, it's also, I was letting you know that, like, these things that you think are neat are also in Smash because...
Yeah. And that's just, like, having only played a little bit of Smash and never that, like, Smash never put that stuff front and center, I feel.
No, Smash never did. Like, it never, for the first 3, there was no actual, like, story mode or anything. It was just play the fights and unlock all the characters. And, like, they never really, there was, like, challenge modes and things like that. But they never really focused a lot on, like, showing you all the different play styles and customization that you can do. There's a ton of different customizations you can do for all your different play styles.
Yeah, I mean, I do remember that there was a lot of customization to it. MultiVerse is just, like, as soon as you get to, like, the play the game screen, like, the first thing with, like, all, like, the big letters and stuff is the, like, team mode. Mm-hmm. So, like, that is what I think they're using that to try and, like, separate themselves of, like, we want you to play this with another person, whether it's somebody you know or not. And, like, Smash is more just like, hey, just jump in there and fucking hit things.
Yeah.
But it's cool. I wouldn't say not to play it if you enjoy Smash games. Drew, how is Rumbleverse?
It's pretty good. My issue I've had with it mostly is trying to play it at any sort of, like, peak time. It has had massive login queues. That,
like, worse than Diablo 3 on launch day? I know those weren't login queues.
No, like, that was just it broken and you couldn't log in at all. But
worse than Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn?
I don't think you played that.
I couldn't tell you, but I will tell you the first day it was out, like, officially, I, like, got on around noon and was able to get in right away and search for games, but it would take, like, 3 to 4 minutes to find a match. And then when I went back that evening to play, I was in a 130,000 player login queue.
Jesus.
And said, fuck that, never mind, because it was not going down very fast. So I was like, yeah, no, that's way too long. I'll go play Apex. Mm-hmm. But when you play it, it's pretty fun. I believe it is 40 players. I don't know if in duo mode it's more or not. So it's either single player or you can team up with one other person or, be queued up and paired with a rando. Everyone has the same, like, default normal attack and then vicious attack, which if you hold it does, like, an AoE ground pound. If you just tap it, it will try to grab the opponent and do a big jumping suplex. Mm-hmm. As you go around the city, there are crates that will have either healing items, stamina healing, health healing items, stamina healing items, items to increase your max damage, your max HP, or your max stamina, or special moves that'll be things like super kicks or choke slams or jumping uppercuts, different things like that will go on to L1 and R1, and you can have 2 of them at any time. And as you're hitting moves or picking up random stars that are around, you are building up a superstar meter. And you can either just save that meter, and when you go to 0 HP, you will recover. It'll spend the meter. You'll recover to like 300 or 400 health. I'm not sure if that goes up depending how much your max HP has gone up. or you can activate Superstar Mode, which gives you different ability on your Vicious Attack button, which will be a like jumping, spinning pile driver thing that does like can one-hit KO pretty well. There's also lots of like vehicles or other like jump pads around the city that if you do one of the slams and bounce off them, you'll like bounce way higher and do more damage with the slam as opposed to just doing it off the ground. So especially when you do that ultimate move, you want to try to like direct yourself over to a car and then you'll bounce off it, and if you keep bouncing, the higher you go, the more damage you'll do eventually when you hit the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So that plays into the strategy of using the move sometimes. Like you want to try to lure them over near, because you don't have a ton of movement in the air, but you have enough. But I don't know, it's been pretty fun. You unlock customization, different gear for your wrestler as you level up. You start with like some generic red, white, and blue with a star singlet. And then there's different body types. You can be a guy or a girl, and all crazy hair. You unlock luchador masks and whatnot. Oh, it seems pretty alright. It's free. Like, I'm definitely going to keep messing around with it for a while, but I just hope they fix the login queues.
Yeah, I'm sure they probably didn't know how many people were actually going to be interested in playing this game, but like 130,000 login queue, that's wild.
Yeah.
That might have been like that, because that game just was released, right?
Yeah, like literally last week.
Yeah, so it's still growing pains of like a new thing that is getting viral.
Yeah, and Iron Galaxy is not a huge studio.
Mm-hmm.
So not shocked that like they did not have massive server capacity.
Yeah.
So that is definitely something that will get fixed, but
yeah, like I've been, as you were talking about, I've been watching somebody play it on Twitch right now, and like it seems fun, it seems interesting. The motion and the fluid is the fluidity of the motion is pretty sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Like some of these combos that these guys are pulling off is pretty cool. The combat itself looks fun and just ridiculous. It does look fun. I've had a bunch of people tell me like, hey, we need to play it, you need to get it. But it's like, while I'm streaming, I'm like, dude, I can't stream and download a game right now. It's not going to work out. And then I just forget to download it afterward. But like, yeah, it looks, especially if you're a Battle Royale fan, as well as like a wrestling fan, you're probably really going to like it. I'm sure there's a lot of nuance and like identity for wrestling that like somebody like me who really does not care about professional wrestling at all, like some of this stuff just like really isn't gonna be like it's not gonna shine for me, but I'm sure like for you, like, oh, this move might have been somebody's move or whatever and stuff like that, which I'm
yes, it like absolutely has that. Like,
yeah,
one of the moves you can get from the books around the city is like the diamond cutter, but also as moves will have 3 different rarities, and it'll increase damage and sometimes add special properties.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, the base version is, like, the ruby cutter, then the second level was, like, the sapphire cutter, then the final rare form of it was called the diamond cutter or whatever. And it was like, okay.
I think it would have been funnier if it went from, like, the diamond cutter to, like, the stunner or something like that.
Yeah. Though those are 2 distinctly different moves.
Yeah.
Are they?
Yes.
They are.
The diamond cutter / RKO ends with like the person's face hitting the mat. The stunner, the wrestler falls onto their butt and then,
like, if you look at them,
shoulder.
Like the diamond cutter is basically the person doing it, kind of like flying outward with them, and the stunner is more just like falling straight down onto your ass with the person's head on your shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
but like they're basically the same idea. So like I'm sure one hurts more than the other. So one would be like the the upgrade to the one before it.
Yeah.
There's couple of questions. Question number one: there's random targets around the ground. What do those do?
So there is a tutorial mode, but it's a separate queue. It's not a thing you just can go in and single play. So I have no fucking idea what those do, and I haven't Googled to find out. Mm-hmm. I'm imagining if you land probably the superstar move onto them, it does more damage, but I personally do not know.
Because I just saw somebody land a move on, the target was glowing, somebody land a move, and then the target was broken. Because some of the moves, when you land on the ground and whatnot, it breaks the ground. And so it broke the target wasn't glowing anymore. I love that you're eating chicken legs in order to heal.
Yes. There are also full chickens that you get 2 uses out of.
Uh-huh. So, that's cool. When I don't know, I can't remember if you said this. If you're out of the ring, you don't lose health, but you have 10 seconds to get in or you ring out.
Oh, no, I did not. But yes, it is a 10-second count out.
Yeah.
In wrestling.
That's cool. And then, the characters, the body types, is there a different, if I'm playing as a skinnier character, am I, faster, not as strong, or
I don't
does
think
there
so.
not make a difference?
I think it's just purely aesthetic.
Okay. Alright. This game looks, it's silly. It's very silly for sure.
Listen, if you want to download it and play, I'll play with you. Let's go.
It's on my list. I'm thinking about it. Right now this dude is, top 4, and I'm watching it and I'm really hoping he wins. Cause, he's doing pretty good.
I have yet to win a match. I came in second in a match, though. Me and this dude had a pretty epic back and forth at the end. Mm-hmm. I revived twice in this final fight with this dude.
Jeez. And does the ring stay, I'm assuming since you're not taking damage once the ring empties, that, the ring just stays at a certain size at one point. Okay.
Yeah. But the area we were in was very small.
Yeah.
And so with the 10-second count out, once the ring, that 10 seconds lasts for that entire ring. Mm-hmm. So, the very first ring, you have 10 seconds. Then once it shrinks, you regain your 10 seconds. So if you've gotten down to 1 second, you'll have 10 seconds again.
Yeah.
But, so each time you go out, if it counts from 10 to 9, the next time you go outside the ring in that same set, it'll go from 9 to 8, and then 8 to 7. It's not got the 10 count, got back in the ring, now I get 10 seconds again.
Yeah.
So, it's not you can just keep going in and out at the end.
This guy was in top 3, and there was only him and one other person fighting, and then he eventually found that one of the people were hiding in bushes, which is a smart move.
Yeah.
It works. But yeah, this game looks really cool. I might have time to play it at some point. I'm playing so many games. Maybe sometime down the line I'll stream it and play it and have you all.
Yeah.
Well, do you guys want to talk about Prey now then?
Sure.
Yeah, let's get into it.
So I guess up front, Drew, how much did you hate it?
I did not hate this movie. It was incredibly average. I was not really excited about anything that happened in the movie, but also, with one exception, I didn't go well, that was fucking stupid.
Rich, how about you?
I enjoyed it. It was better than what I was expecting. I had relatively moderate expectations. But I thought it was enjoyable. It had a solid story. I liked the take on the past, in one of these, things. The guy won, by the way. He just won. I like the idea, the take on it being in the past, in this technologically advanced creature fighting against Native Americans and whatnot. And there's been a lot of outcry of do more stuff like this, Alien and feudal Japan and shit like that, which I'm I like that idea. I like that timeliness like that. And I feel like this worked a lot. Where was the fucking dog most of the movie?
Yeah, where was the dog most of the movie?
I mean, it's the 1800s. That dog was just out, living its life.
But they, the way the movie starts, you feel that dog is going to be, important, but the dog barely exists.
Dude, that dog saved the movie at the end. Or saved the girl in the movie, I should say.
But then he disappeared again.
I mean, yes.
I feel like
yeah.
I'm glad they didn't kill the dog, because I would have rioted if they killed the dog.
Yeah, I actually I looked that up right after the movie started, before it got into it. I just Googled. I'm like, does the dog survive prey?
Yeah.
And it was just okay, cool.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to not watch it, but I didn't want the dog to die because the dog seemed like a good dog.
Mm-hmm. I was glad they went a different route with fighting against the thermal vision, whereas yeah, she fell into the mud pit and whatnot, but instead
I immediately thought that was
I was
when she fell in the mud.
I was
okay,
because they mentioned the flower earlier on, and how it makes them cold and it slows their blood, and to me at that point it didn't fully key in. Oh, that's what they're gonna do, and that's really neat. But she fell into the mud, and I'm like, oh great, he's not gonna see her right now, and she's gonna know, and then it's just gonna be Terminator 1 all over again. But no, they kind of turned it around on you, because everyone who knows Terminator 1 is expecting the mud, but then it's oh no, this
you
plant
mean Predator 1?
Predator 1. Did I say Terminator? I did.
Twice.
I was thinking Arnold, okay? Which he's in both of them, but
Fair.
I was thinking Arnold as a villain. But they kind of flipped it around and was no, the mud is something different that we're alluding to later on, which is I really like what they did with that whole aspect of it. I like what they did with the character. I can't remember her name. But the main character, she's a female in Native American culture, so she's supposed to be the gatherer and everything. But she's no, I want to hunt. I want to be out in the field. I'm a better tracker than everyone and whatnot. And it was just it was a neat story, that they were trying to tell.
Yeah, and I didn't love the movie. I thought it was fine. I thought it had some really interesting ideas. I was bored through the first 3/4 of it though, because
it's so slow.
It wasn't bad slow. It was slow, and I wasn't. I'm not the biggest Predator fan to begin with. I think the first movie is good, and the rest of them have all been mediocre at best.
I feel that's the pretty general consensus on Predator.
This one definitely sits above most of the sequels, I would say. It's been a long time since I've seen any of them, but it's definitely probably as good as the first one. Because it did
at the end of Predator 2, they give Danny Glover a fucking revolver or some shit. It makes no sense. The Predators give Danny Glover a revolver.
I mean, look, at the end of Alien vs. Predator, the final girl becomes BFFs with the Predator as they hunt the alien together.
Yeah, but then at the very end, the alien has killed the Predator and planted its eggs and everything. Yeah.
But I thought that the last half hour or so, basically from the point where her and her brother are actually being held captive, tied to the tree, to the end was interesting, because that's where everything got tenser. I actually really liked the fact that they had all of the Native American characters speaking in English so that we could understand them.
Yeah.
They would occasionally, the weird thing was, and they do this in a lot of things, they would still have them use Native American words occasionally, and it's no, you got to do one or the other, guys.
But the native words that they were having them use, I believe they said that she was a Comanche. Those words that they were having them use, you could easily pick it up from context, and it was more battle cries or something like that.
Oh,
it wasn't
absolutely.
It wasn't full conversations or anything.
I didn't mean you couldn't understand it, but it was one of those things. It's when you watch a movie and it's a bunch of Russians and they're all just British people, but they'll occasionally say one Russian word in a sentence where they've spoken English. The rest of it, it's you've already kind of broken the immersion by having them speak this way. Just let them speak in English the whole time if that's what you want to do. But what I thought was neat was that when the hunters showed up, they were all speaking French and they did not subtitle it. And it was just she did not understand a word they were saying, because there's no reason she would have. So because we're seeing the movie through her side, we have no idea what they're saying either. Except for the one guy who comes up, he's like, I can speak a lot of language.
Yeah, I love that they made the white people hard to understand. And turned them into the true villain. No, they didn't turn them into the true villain, but one of the villains. Yeah. That was I really enjoyed that. Like, that was one of my talking points. It's like they made it so that like the French people were speaking French or just whatever language they knew.
It sounded French, and I like that they didn't subtitle it.
It did sound French, but it also at times didn't. Like, I feel like it was just a lot of different languages all combined, because it's like settlers in the Americas at those times were Spaniards, English, and French mostly. Because this is still pre-Revolutionary War. It's like 1730 something, I believe.
1719.
It was
okay. For some reason, I thought it was later than that.
No, it was pre-Revolution. So it's like it's a number of different ethnicities were part of like the hunting parties and the exploratory party.
Okay. But yeah, so like I didn't think it was bad, but I was definitely bored through a lot of the beginning where it was just like hunting and gathering, and like occasionally you'd see like that the predator had, you know, killed a wolf and like mounted the top of its skull on its belt. Like, cool, the predator's out there doing stuff.
Yeah, it did suffer a little bit from pacing early on, but it was only an hour and a half long.
Like it didn't overstay its welcome. I was just the first like hour, I was just kind of like, okay, like, can we get to anything actually happening here?
But I mean, it was story building for the lead character, starting to learn. Like, you're learning to understand her and her history with her tribe.
Yeah, but a lot of it was just her by herself in the woods. I think that was the thing. Like, there wasn't much going on, and like I didn't necessarily come to this movie for like that side of it. Like, it's a Predator movie. I expected a little bit more of that. Like, honestly, the movie's called Prey. I expected a little bit more just of that thriller vibe of her being hunted more, where like where it's not until the end that like things finally click for her and she just fucking wrecks. And like, don't get me wrong, that end fight, that was spectacular. Like, that was such a cool fight, how like she used the environment to her advantage against this thing that like was superior in basically every way.
But it was a lot of it, like, yeah, she was alone, but she was also encountering the Predator from time to time, and it was her learning about the Predator. Her learning how he moves, her learning, and like, like I said, some of the pacing was a little off. If they could have cut maybe 10 minutes, it might have been a little bit better. But I mean, you're then turning an hour and a half into an hour and 20 minutes. Like, it's already a short movie as it is. And
yeah, like I don't think you could necessarily cut that down with how short it was.
But
I
like,
just think like it was boring for a bit of it.
They could have just done things differently in a way that made the beginning part a little more tense and interesting rather than the way they did.
Yeah, maybe introducing conflict earlier.
Yeah, like,
even if it was conflict with the hunters,
or just like other wild animals. Like,
they introduced the mountain lion. Like, they had to deal with the mountain lion, and then they thought it was a bear, and then it was her being like, "No, you weren't listening to me." Like, the first 20 minutes, half hour of the movie was them going after the mountain lion.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, like, the hunting of the animals, I didn't really find that all that like compelling or interesting or anything. It was really once like the Predator became involved and the hunters became involved is where I'm like, okay, like now things are like picking up. There's like stuff going on. Like, I'm a little more intrigued to see like how things play out, because like you knew she was going to win in the end, but you just didn't know how much bloodshed there was going to be to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Also, is it just me, or did the Predator seem more primal in like what it had than I feel like a species who can travel in space and become invisible should have been?
Agree.
I mean, I agree, but also it's they've always set up like the Predators coming to Earth was more of like a tribal thing, of like a rite of passage that like at the time 200 years prior to Predator 1, like it makes sense that they're a little bit more primal in the aspect of their trial.
Yeah, and that's true. Like, you really don't know, like, how their civilization has changed. Mm-hmm. I just thought it was funny that, like, and it's probably been 20 years since I saw the first Predator, but, like, he didn't really have any, like, guns and stuff like that. Like, he did have, like, the one laser sight, like arrow thing, mm-hmm. but everything else was, like, that, like, collapsible shield and, like, his, like, extending spear club, and, like, he had a couple of, like, things, like electronic things on him, but it just seemed way more rustic.
And that might just be because if you send somebody with a laser gun to go fight natives, they're gonna win. Like,
that's true, and that's also like assuming that, like, they know exactly what the species of mm-hmm. Earth have available.
Like, with like, the way I'm seeing it is with the idea that, like, the Predators have been coming to Earth for however long. Assuming Prey is canon with Predator 1 and all the others. Maybe even AVP, which I think technically they are canon. The Predators have been using Earth for however long that they probably try to pseudo keep touch with similar technologies. Like, yeah, the Predators are using, like, lasers or something, but in this one, like, the biggest, heaviest weapon that people have would be cannons or guns, like, that take 10 fucking minutes to load. So it's like, alright, make
True.
The Predator have limited ammo. Or at least in their tribe, it's like, you have to kind of sort of match what the people or the creatures of the primary creatures of that planet is. Maybe who knows? I get what you're saying, but it's also like, for a storytelling standpoint, it's matching technology to make it so that something isn't walking around with a laser machine gun fighting people with bow and arrows.
Yeah, and, like, I think that is definitely the right move. I just kind of, like, I was watching that, I'm just like, for, like, a creature that, like, traveled through space to get here and can, like, turn invisible and shit, that sure does seem weird that, like, you just have a club and a shield to fight with. But you're right, like, it is supposed to be some sort of challenge, so, mm-hmm. like, showing up with a fucking laser rifle to people that don't even have, like, automatic weapons, like, there's no real challenge there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, worst case, I thought that final fight was actually super well done. Like, the choreography was good. Like, you knew that the axe on the rope was going to be a thing because they spent too much time with her, like, figuring that out in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
But, like, it was still cool, like, when she used it and sort of, like, drug him into the thing and then he, shot himself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was shocked to know. I sent this to you guys mostly because we'd be talking about it. Like, I had a feeling that a decent amount of the Predator was practical, but I didn't think it was as much as it was. Literally, the entire Predator costume is real. Like,
yeah, that is actually really cool that it was all practical.
Mm-hmm. Like, obviously, in post, they digitized some things and made some things flow and work better and whatnot. But, like, it was really good. I also, like, when going back onto your talk about the rusticness, like, it looked like the stealth technology wasn't as refined. Because, like, if things touched it, it waved and whatnot. So, like, even the wind blowing against him in stealth in the burned forest, like, all the ash hitting him was making it to where he turned off the stealth because it didn't make sense to have it on because they could see him anyway. Like, it was a cool thing that, like, the stealth isn't perfect in this one. Because, like, if you made it perfect, if you made it to where it always stayed on, then again, he wouldn't have been a threat. Or they wouldn't have been a threat. He would have been.
Yeah. But interesting movie, nonetheless.
Yeah, it was. I like the idea of putting these horror aspects in older times. I really do, and I hope they try to play with it. Also, this was directed by the same guy who directed 10 Cloverfield Lane, and I absolutely loved 10 Cloverfield Lane. And
I thought 10 Cloverfield Lane was decent.
I love that. That was a great movie. I loved it.
It was really the ending that I feel like kind of dropped the ball with that one, but, like, the movie itself was really good.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't care for the twist ending in Cloverfield Lane.
What, that the aliens attacked?
Yeah, just like the last, like, 5 minutes of the movie, I was just not a huge fan of. But like the whole rest of the movie was fantastic.
I mean, 100% knew that the aliens were going to be there. It's Cloverfield.
No, I know, but just the way they did it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm trying not to spoil that movie, even though it is fairly old at this point.
It's like, who knows how long.
I think it was like 2012. So probably it's probably been close to a decade.
I was going to say about 10 years.
It was 2016.
Fuck you. No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was, according to the wiki.
No, or you know what? That actually makes sense, because Cloverfield was after...
2007? 2008?
Around high schoolish, yeah. And
like, there was a pretty big gap between the two.
Because, like, I remember when they did the Cloverfield Paradox.
I never watched that one.
That was like 2018. So, yes. Like, it makes sense that it was so far later.
Yeah, I think the original Cloverfield came out, like, January 2008. Like, it was, like, beginning of the 2008.
Something like that. Like, I was out of high school at the time. I know that much. And I was all about it because it was a J.J. Abrams, and I loved Lost, and they did a lot of viral marketing for that movie that, like, I just fell in love with. And I still think Cloverfield, honestly, a fucking fantastic monster movie.
Oh, yeah, like, I watched it a couple of years ago, and, like, it actually still holds up. Like, it's a very good, like, for a movie that you never really get a good look at the monster, it's just such a well-done kind of, like, found footage movie.
Plus, T.J. Miller dies, and that's great.
I don't hate T.J. Miller. I don't like him, but, like, I don't hate him.
He fucking called a bomb threat on a fucking train. He's an asshole.
I didn't know that. That's really shitty.
Yeah.
Like I said, like, I don't like him or hate him enough to, like, know anything about him. I just know in the things I've seen him in, he's been, you know, fine. Do you guys want to know what the next thing is?
Yeah, let's go for it. Tell us what it is. What is it?
Well, Drew, I guess first, you don't have one, right?
No.
Okay. So my next pick is Ex Machina.
Is that the one where it's what's her name and she's the robot?
Yeah, it's Alicia Vikander is an AI, and Oscar Isaac and Domhnall Gleeson play a billionaire who owns the AI and like a computer science engineer person who is hired to determine if the AI is actually sentient and or like self-aware, basically. It's one of those movies where it came out in like 2012-ish, I think, maybe right around there, maybe a little after that. It's on HBO Max. 2014 is when it came out, and I've meant to watch it since 2014, and just for one reason or another, like never got around to it. It's Alex Garland is the director for it though, and he's done he's been involved in a bunch of other movies. Like he was the writer for Dredd, the Judge Dredd reboot from a while ago. He was involved in 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later. Annihilation was another one of his movies. So like he's done some stuff. He also apparently was the story supervisor for the games Enslaved: Odyssey to the West. Or I'm sorry, he was the co-writer for that game, and he was a story supervisor for DMC, Devil May Cry, the Team Ninja, I want to say.
Yeah.
But I saw Annihilation a couple years ago. I really liked that movie. It was super weird stuff. And Ex Machina is apparently a very well-regarded movie. So I'm interested to see like what it's actually like.
I've always been interested in that one as well, but it also it always gave me kind of weird, awkward love story vibes, and whatnot. And it just was like I want to watch it, but I don't know what it is, but I want to watch it type shit. And I didn't realize it was on HBO. So
yeah, and I don't think it's a love story.
I don't think it is, but like it's dude chick probably love story from back in that. It always gave me some odd vibes. Like I don't know.
I mean and who knows, like, right? But like I like the cast.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's got something going for it. But yeah, so that will be for our September 1st episode, apparently. So, it's almost September. What the fuck, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And then I guess, so the last thing we have, I've been watching the Netflix adaptation of Sandman.
I hear it's really good.
It is. Though it does have some episodes that just feel like a little bit of a slog, but it's odd. It's both a series of standalone episodes, but also episodes that are all interconnected and you kind of do have to watch together. It's like the first half-ish of it is kind of, it's about Dream, or Morpheus, like the Lord of Dreams, trying to find like these 3 items that are essentially his power. It's sand, like Sandman. Like a mask that kind of looks like a plague doctor mask, and this ruby crystal thing that had been stolen from him while he was in the mortal realm, and over the course of like 100 years had just changed hands a bunch of times.
Mm-hmm.
So like each episode was him like searching for one of those items. One of them ended up in Hell, which is where he goes and has the coolest conceptual battle with Lucifer to see whether or not he would get his item back. That was probably one of the coolest scenes, was just like the Hell bit of that episode. There's also a Constantine in this one, or as they pronounce it, Constantine. But it's not John, it's Johanna, and it's Jenna Coleman from Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
Plays like basically the female version of John Constantine, because Sandman is it's a DC property, so it's a 40-ish issue, I want to say, series by Neil Gaiman, and it actually takes place in like the DC universe. Like there's a villain in the comics that is actually apprehended by the Justice League at one point. This show didn't get any of the rights for that though. So like that's why like John Constantine is Johanna Constantine sort of thing, and you never see any of the DC characters, though there are a few like pictures and stuff like that in the background of like Golden Age DC heroes that like if you look close enough you're like, oh, that's supposed to be such and such. But like that whole bit is just really interesting. There's one episode that takes place entirely in a diner, and Dream is not in that episode at all. And it's this really interesting, like, concept of people acting out what they want to do versus what they think they should do.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's been a really good show so far. I think we have 2 episodes left. It's 10 episodes. I think we have 9 and 10 left. And like every episode is like I said, it's a standalone story, but also this like greater thing that ties into each other.
Yeah.
There's a whole episode just about death. Because it's basically like in this universe, everything has like a personification essentially that like rules over it. And while they are not the Eternals, like in Marvel, they call themselves the Eternal because they have always existed and will always exist until the universe no longer exists.
Yeah.
Dream is one of them. There's Lucifer is also one of them. And then there's like desire, despair, death. Like I'm sure there's also like happiness and stuff like that as well. But death, the episode with death, you literally get to see her go interact with people as they're dying, and it's really weird, but like really compelling.
Mm-hmm.
Because like whenever you think of death in anything, you always think of death as like the Grim Reaper and like the hood with the sickle and just being very like, even when it's not that depiction, like you just think of death as being kind of this like dour and depressing notion. But in this, like, death is very pleasant. Like it's a female form. And like she's super excited at one point to get like an apple from somebody,
mm-hmm.
and just is super excited for like 2 whole minutes about this delicious apple that she got.
You know, they need to start portraying death as somebody who doesn't actually like. So that's good.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing. Like she's not there to kill people, but she's also very like strict with like that's not how this works. Like when people are like begging for a chance to go like have one last conversation with somebody, she's like, "I'm sorry, like that's not how this works. Like, come on."
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other like standout kind of moments. There's one episode where they skip through time for a while. Like you get to check in with Dream over the course of like 600 years, and it's him meeting up with a character like every century or so, starting in like the 1300s, I want to say it was. And that was neat because you get to see all of like these advancements in like what we know life was like at those points. So like watching things go from like the Dark Ages to the 1980s was really fucking weird. And just even going from the 1800s to the 1900s, I feel like everything pre-1800, like you could see like just the small jumps in society. And then all of a sudden, 1980, it's like neon and like frizzed hair and shit everywhere, and it's just like, oh yeah, that's right. Like the century that is the 1900s, everything changed so much crazier than I feel like it ever did before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once the Industrial Revolution happened, like, technology and everything just kept growing and growing and growing. And that's even now, like, 10 years ago, we didn't have smartphones.
Yes, we did.
Not to the extent that
That is true. But yeah, the iPhone came out in 2007. Excuse me. But yeah, it's a cool show. It's all about hour-long episodes, so it's, unless you have a lot of time, it is a hard one to binge. But some of the episodes, like, they finish and you do want to just watch the next one right away, even though they're not always, like I said, they're not always directly connected. Like, it's not like they're ending on a cliffhanger where it's like, oh, I need to see, like, how this finishes. But it's more just like, that was really good. I wonder what the next one is going to do. And from what I've heard, they're apparently staying very faithful to the comics. Like, as much as they can, while taking out some of the things that they just don't have the rights to. And they're not covering the whole series in this season. So, because it seems to have done well, assuming Netflix doesn't just axe it because it's Netflix, I imagine we'll get at least one more season of it, which is neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the cast has all been really good. Yeah, I have genuinely enjoyed it.
Nice.
Cool.
I have a question for you, Rich, that this was not on the agenda. I just thought of it. So we started watching some more Attack on Titan. This is going to sound very, like, negative, but, like, when does that show get good? Like, we have 2 episodes left in season 2, and it's just not entertaining.
It just might not be the show for you. I was hooked since I started watching. Honestly, I was hooked immediately, and then it kind of slows down with their training, and then I was hooked again, and it's just very heavy. But it depends on, like, really what you're watching it for. As weird as that sounds, like, if you're interested in the lore and if you're interested in the backstory of the Titans and shit, the end of season 3. If you're just interested in the fights and whatnot, like, every episode is a fight mostly. Like, the animation and everything is really good, and like, the art style is really cool. The overall story is really what mostly intrigued me and why I kept watching it.
I think that might be the thing is, I don't think the animation's bad. I don't think the fights are all that good, though. I think all the fights are kind of boring. Like, so far there have only been, like, 2 times where, like, the fights have actually been legitimately cool.
No,
I find myself more intrigued about the lore and sort of what's going on, but, like, they're not getting to any of that. So it's just, like, dragging it out, and I'm like, cool. Like, where we're at right now, I found out a kind of about the Armored and Colossal Titans. Like, I know who they are. And it was 2 episodes of Eren in a tree without any legs yelling at them. And then this most recent episode was him still without any legs yelling at them while somebody else made a deal with them. And then, like, 3 seconds of action at the end of the episode.
Yeah. No, I can 100% understand not liking this. It is not all that great. It is very slow. Fucking the final season has 4 fucking seasons. So,
yeah. I mean, that's fair. But it's one of those shows where, like, people have all, like, even now, like, people so highly of it, and I'm watching, I'm like, yeah, like, you know what, the animations are good, none of the characters are all that interesting, to be fair. Like, the most interesting thing is the world and the lore, and they don't really give you much of it. Like, they just kind of went into, one of the female Titans. I don't want to say names because, like, that would spoil it, but, like, it was the one that was with Eren in the tree. Like, we just found out her backstory and how she kind of, like, was a person, then was a Titan for a long time, and then, like, became a person again. And it's like, see, that's interesting, but I'm sure they're not going to tell us how that works for, like, another season.
You'll find out about it by the end of season, or at the end of season 3. Like,
okay,
you like, literally a lot of the lore drops of, like, what's going on with the overworld and everything happens in season 3. Have you been in the Crystal Caves yet?
No.
Yeah, which is season 3. So a lot of lore drops come in season 3. And so maybe that's, like, the point that'll get you more interested in it. But, like, literally, I gave up with the series because I'm not watching 3 seasons of a season. So I'm just going to, like, I'm not watching 3 seasons of a season and it's still incomplete. I'm waiting for the final part to come out before I watch.
Yeah, we're watching it very slowly. Like, we'll finish up season 2, and then we'll probably go back to One Piece for a while. Because we finally got through the fucking very slow Skypiea stuff. But I got unintentionally spoiled with an Attack on Titan thing, where I know that one of the characters ends up turning bad. Again, I'm trying not to just say it for people that don't know.
I mean, I don't even know that part yet, so it's...
Oh, have you not watched any of Season 4?
I have not watched any of Season 4, because Season 4 was supposed to end with Season 3, and I was going to watch it then. And then it's like, oh no, we're doing another part. I'm like, fuck you. I'm not watching you.
So I thought you had watched the first part of Season 4, and then had held off on it?
I watched through Season 3, because Season 4 wasn't out yet. And then they were like, Season 4 is going to come out in 2 parts. I was like, alright, I'll wait until both parts. And they're like, oh, Season 4 is going to be 3 parts. Season 4 is going to now be 4 parts. Fuck you. Just release the finale of this fucking show so I can watch it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it still makes them a lot of money, so...
But that's the problem. Like, from what I've heard with the manga with this show, like, their training took place, like, in 1 episode. Like, the training in Season 1, like, to become cadets was, like,
it wasn't very long.
I think it was, like, maybe 1 episode. And that's actually supposed to take, like, a year or 2. Like, they train for a long time, but you only get, like, 1 or 2 episodes of it. That's, like, 3 books.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I know, like, they've touched on the training, like, in, like, flashbacks since then. Like, they showed us the flashback of the one female that we find out is a Titan in Season 2, like, of her training where, like, she told somebody that she was a Titan after, like, a thing happened.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, like, yeah, I think, like I was saying, I don't think the characters are good. Like, I think all of the characters kind of suck.
Yeah, they the only one who's really redeemable is Araman, because he doesn't want to be there.
Yeah, but, like, at this point, he's kind of a whiny bitch and doesn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Mikasa goes off on her own too much. Like, she's cool as far as, like, her combat abilities and shit like that. But, like, she's just constantly, like, oh, where's Eren? What's Eren doing? Like,
yeah.
And then, like, Levi is kind of okay when it comes to, like, fighting. But again, like, he's fought once so far. Mm-hmm. And otherwise, he's just kind of mean to everybody. And it's like...
Most of Season 2, he was injured, right? Yeah.
I think so. I have really not... like, we took, like, a 6-month break between Season 1 and 2. So I don't really remember. What...
Like, he was hurt during Season 2, though.
I think so. I don't remember that. Like, that's the problem. Like, he has not been in Season 2 at all. So I think he was hurt at the end of Season 1.
Okay.
Because I think he got hurt while they were fighting the blonde female Titan. Yeah. Because he was the only one that was able to do any, like, actual damage to her. And like, Eren is objectively one of the worst anime characters I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's just fucking terrible. Everything about his character is just fucking terrible.
Yeah. Like, it literally, like, 100%, the reason I'm into the show is because of the lore. Like, the characters and everything, they're not redeemable. It is the lore, it is the story that kept me going.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like, the world, like I said, seems super cool, and it is on such a slow drip feed. Mm-hmm. I feel like I would get more out of a fucking hamster bottle than I do out of this show.
100%, yeah, I totally agree. Like, it's a shock that it gets as high praises.
Yeah, I'm sure we're gonna keep watching it because, like, Erica actually seems to be enjoying it a lot, and, like, I don't hate it. It's just, like, this is kind of boring. Like, I don't want to watch more than, like, 1 episode at a time. Whereas, like, even, like, when One Piece was super dull, I'm like, all right, let's watch, like, 3 or 4 of these. Like, they're fun. Like, Luffy's a fucking goofball. Yeah. He's gonna do something stupid and punch a guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just curious. So.
No, it makes sense. Before we wrap up, just a little quick teaser for next week. I've been watching the Resident Evil series. Probably gonna have that finished next week. We'll talk about it.
Okay. Yeah. I have not heard many good things, but I've been interested to just see it because I like Lance Reddick.
That's honestly one of the main reasons why I'm still watching it, because he's great. But no, like, the story is interesting. I'm having a lot of trouble figuring out if this is supposed to take place after the games, or if this is supposed to take place after the shitty movie that came out.
I don't think this is part of any of that. I think it's its own entirely separate thing.
No, the first episode is called Welcome to New Raccoon City. And they mention the incident that happened in Raccoon City.
Okay, so...
Yeah.
But it could still be, like, its own universe, and they're just using the, like, general knowledge, if that makes sense. Like, if you've seen a Resident Evil movie or played a game, you know Raccoon City was...
Yeah.
Like, decimated by the T-virus.
Like, it's obviously not the original movies, but, like, there was that really shitty movie that came out
the Netflix
earlier
one, right?
this year. No, it was an actual...
Oh, that's
like,
right. It was an actual, like...
theatrical release.
I forgot about that.
From what I hear, was terrible. It was called Welcome to Raccoon City.
Yeah, so I wonder if it is supposed to be, like, tied into that.
Came out last year.
Yeah, it was, like, September 2021.
Yeah, Rotten Tomatoes was 30%. Right?
Yeah, I forgot all about that. Ugh.
So... Yeah, it's not horrible, but it's not wonderful. But also at the same time, it's probably not connected to the movie because Tom Hopper, who I believe is in the Umbrella Academy, yeah, he plays the gorilla guy in Umbrella Academy. He plays Albert Wesker in Welcome to Raccoon City, and Lance Reddick plays Albert Wesker in the Resident Evil series.
Yeah, okay. But I guess that's probably a show?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm going to do this before we actually wrap up. Rich, what is your streaming thing for the week?
What do you mean?
What anything going on? Streams?
No. The only thing that I'm gonna really be pushing until I have another big stream is stop by on Sundays. Thursdays and Sundays primarily is when I play with viewers. You can join me in Monster Hunter on Thursdays, and on Sundays for the next couple of weeks, I've been playing through the Ninja Turtles Revenge of Shredder game. So if you have it on Xbox, Game Pass, Steam, or Epic, we can play together. I'm trying to get as many people as I can because the more people, the more chaos, the more fun that game will be. So hang out primarily on Sundays for Ninja Turtles, or like I said, Thursdays, or it might go to Tuesdays starting next week for Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak Open Lobbies. Twitch.tv/B_.
Nice. And other than that, if you would like to find more of our content, you can head over to www.one-quest.com. You can also help us out by supporting us at patreon.com/onequest. If you can't support us there with dollars, you can go to your favorite podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, all the places. Rate us, review us, subscribe to us. All that stuff helps a whole bunch. You can also find us on social media, facebook.com/onequestonline or at @1_quest on Instagram and Twitter. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/onequestvideo, and you can always send us an email to social@one-quest.com. But otherwise, we will be back next week with something else to talk about. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.